Hey digital fam, my name is John D. Saunders. In today's blog, I want to show you the exact process we use to research blog content that resonates with your niche market. Let's do this. So guys, I want to show you the exact process we use internally with the team to vet, write, and distribute blog content. Now this is going to be the first step. The process is pretty long. The video is going to be about 20 minutes, but I'm telling you it's going to be tons and tons of free value. We have an internal YouTube channel for our team in which we use to train everyone in all of their skills that they use in our marketing agency. So we're going to take that first piece of how to research blog content thoroughly with some free tools that we use to get your content out to the masses. So let me go ahead and dive on my computer and show you guys the process. Okay, so this is a basic outline of our blog strategy in the way that we create content. So number one is researching content. That's the fun part. That's really doing the research behind the scenes to see what content resonates with people, what would be good to post. Ultimately, doing that research in the beginning makes it easier for this content to be shared by users, right? So once we do research, we find out what blogs we want to post, then we go to write content. And that's when we write the content in an easy to view form. A lot of times we'll do listicles like BuzzFeed where it's, top 10 places to go in the winter. That's just an example. We like to do a lot of lists because people don't read like they used to, but long form content performs really well. So we like our content to be pretty lengthy. Once it's written, we optimize that content, meaning we make sure that all the titles, all the images are laid out correctly and good to go. And then we distribute that content. And that can include social shares. That can also include sharing it on other websites, other platforms. It really just helps it resonate with people and creating a viral effect for that content. So first thing I want to go over is researching content. Now, before we get into researching content, I'd like for you to read this article. It's kind of lengthy, so you don't have to read it verbatim. Just kind of peruse it and look at it at your leisure. But this tells you why content goes viral. So some takeaways would be, long form content gets more social shares than short form content. So longer content with more robust info get more shares. So you can see this is average shares by content length. Having at least one image in your post leads to more Facebook shares. So I'm going to share this in the YouTube video. So you'll have that below for you to be able to read and look over. Now let's move into doing the research side or looking at research for content. So the first thing you want to do is open up the content idea doc and go to the blog notes tab. Now in blog notes, these are the 4 ways that we find great content, right? So first one is Google search. Second is Pinterest. Third is Reddit. And fourth is Epicbe. Now you might not always use all of these, but I'm going to go over each one briefly to give you a general idea. Then once you find great content, you can drop it here in the blog ideas for like titles and keywords, and then the links as well. And then also this second tab, blog ideas, is I pre-filled some of this so you had the info, the blog headline. This is the first one we're going to write about. I still want you to kind of do some research and find out some more additional content you can write about down the road. But this is the first thing we want you to write about. 30 must-have items for every solo female traveler. And we arrived at this title based on research, which I'm going to show you. And then here's any links you can put here for sites to pull content from. This is the go live date. And then these are the channels promoted. Now you don't have to worry about this yet because I want to do one thing at a time. So let's go back to blog notes and let's find some great content. So first thing is Google search. So with Google search, this is a great way to find some awesome content. Now, because we're going to be focusing on Love Travel, just to give you a little bit of background, Love Travel is a travel brand. So we focus on travel apparel and travel products, right? And our main demographic is millennials, male and female. So that's aged between 18 and 35. So with that being said, that gives you a general idea of who we want to target. So if I go back to Google, the first thing you want to do is maybe type in travel tips, right? General search will usually give you high ranking blogs. These blogs get tons of traffic, right? So Expert Vagabond is a good site, independenttraveler.com. Also, if you type in travel tips and hit the space bar, it'll give you other options and you can use these to broaden your search, right? So for now, we're going to stick with travel tips just because it's more general. We want to give you a general idea. The first thing you want to do is kind of scroll down, look at a few of these articles. You can even do travel bloggers. And then look at some of these. So I'm going to click on this one, for example, Nomadic Matt. And the way to find good content is to look at existing content and look at ways to tweak it and make it better, right? Because if you already see some content has a ton of shares, a ton of people engaging with it, you already know that content resonates with people. So what you want to do is you want to take that content, repurpose it, and write some new original stuff that's more robust and more detailed than the existing blog. So to give you an example, this is one of the top bloggers in the space in travel, Nomadic Matt. So I'm gonna go to one of his articles. Let's click travel blog. Okay, and let's scroll down a bit. Here we go, 10 awesome destinations for solo female travelers. Now there are some indications that will tell you that a blog has tons of traction. The first one is to just look at the content and see how long it is, see how robust it is. You can see each information has a bold image and then some specific text. There's also links in here too. So this blog is really robust. Now, two big things you want to look at are the shares. And then you want to scroll to the bottom and see if there's any comments. Yeah, so this one has 9 comments. That's a good amount. A lot of times, between 5 and 9 comments is great. Even 1 comment is good because a lot of people will read content without even commenting. So you want to look at the comments, which are here. People are engaging with it. And then the shares. So this has had 1,700 shares on Facebook, 20 on Pinterest, and 10 on Google. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug this into my content idea doc and hit blog ideas, links, and just drop it, female travel, locations, right? So that blog, let me find it. Okay, here we go. So it's called 10 Awesome Destinations for Solo Female Travelers. So to do some content that's better than that and more robust, you can do 25 amazing places every solo female traveler should visit in their lifetime. So what you do is you're taking that existing content and repurposing it. And now you're not going to be you might use maybe a couple of ideas from this blog, but you don't want to replicate any of the content because if you posted it, you wouldn't get as much traction because it's duplicate content. Google, the search engine, will look at it as duplicate content. So you want to take general ideas, but you don't want to take any content verbatim from that. So let's go back to travel. Let's do travel tips 2016. That'll give us more recent content, right? And then let's look at some of these articles. My 30 best travel tips after 6 years traveling the world. So this person is, of course, a regular traveler. They travel significantly, right? Okay, let's look at the content. It's pretty robust, a good amount of images. This is another one that we could take some tips from. So you can copy this link and paste it in your doc. So I recommend getting maybe 5 to 6 blog ideas. You don't have to get too many, just to give you a general idea of stuff that's resonating with people on Google search. Pinterest is another source of great content. You can find some really viral stuff here. With Pinterest, it's a female-dominated platform. So if you have products that are either geared towards female or it's a larger demographic, Pinterest is the perfect place to find some great content. So I just logged into Love Travel's Pinterest account, so it takes me to this homepage where it has some really cool pins related to what I do, right? So one thing you can do is look at the content of these blogs to see if they have viral components. So what that includes is how many times it's been repinned. So in the bottom right corner, you can see this has been repinned 688 times, 196. This has been repinned 3,000 times. This one has been repinned 14,000 times. So you want to look for stuff that has really high engagement, 19,000, 15,000. Those are really good comparables. What I'm going to do is do travel tips Caribbean, just just as an example. So it's going to give me those 3 keywords. Now it's going to try and pull up pins that are related to what my search is. So I can see some of these, 550, that's a little low. 1,000, let's go higher. 6,000, that's a good one. 8,000, 67,000, this one's been shared. A lot of times you'll see an infographic. An infographic is an image that has a lot of facts and factual information inside of it. Those go really viral. So that has 67,000 shares. But we're looking more so for blog content that we can find that's shareable, right? So let's keep scrolling a little bit more. Let's look at this one, 27 things to know before you visit Cuba, 32,000 shares. So let's click that one. Now what it'll usually do is bring up this nice pretty image and then a click through to the blog. So if I click the image once again, it's going to bring me to a landing page where that blog is located. Now let's take a look at how viral this content is. So this one is huge. It has 38,000 shares on social media, and that's across the board on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and it has more than 90 comments. So this post is really, really robust. As you can see, they've got tons of content, great images. It's a really lengthy post, and they've got everything labeled so it's easy for users to read and see. So this gives us an idea for content to write. 27 things you need to know before you visit Cuba. What we want to do is write content similar to that, but make it more robust and make it more eye-catching. So maybe we would do 31 ways to know if you're prepared for Cuba, or 31 things you have to do before you visit Cuba. So we can use kind of different derivatives of that word, but we want to make sure our content is longer and better than the original so that we can rank on Google search. So that's how to use Pinterest to do your research. And you can put in tons of different keyword strings together, like travel tips Caribbean, travel tips Alaska, tips for traveling solo, all that good stuff. So we can add that to the idea pile on our doc. So let's add that here. Let's do Cuba vacation tips. All right, so after Pinterest is Reddit. Now, Reddit is known as the front page of the internet, right? So to explain it correctly, Reddit has viral content organized by how many people voted on it. So for example, if you post, a recipe and other people look on Reddit, they see a recipe and they upvote it, meaning they vote for it, right? The more votes you have, the more viral your content is, and the higher it places on the Reddit front page. So right now, the #1 post has 4,000 upvotes, and those are people actually voting for it to have this position. So if you're here, that means that's the holy grail. You have millions of eyes looking at you. So with Reddit, what you can do is pull some great content ideas. So based on the category, since we're doing travel, I'm going to type in travel here. You can pull some really good ideas from Reddit on content that you can write and content that's resonating with people, right? So let's look at some of these subreddits, and subreddits are just categories of content. And since I typed in travel, it gave me travel, travel HD, travel guide. So let's hit travel because it has almost 300,000 subscribers. Travel guide has 694, so it's a small amount of people. We want to get something that's more viral, right? So let's hit travel. Once you hit travel, it'll bring up content in regards to travel, tips, all of that stuff, right? So this is the first post is You're Never Too Old. Russian grandmother started exploring the world at 83 and has been traveling alone for the last 6 years. So this content is pretty viral. This next one is a photo of a rainy night in Tokyo. So a lot of this content can vary. It can be images, it can be blogs. Let's keep going. More pictures, more pictures. So let's actually go to search and let's do travel tips. So if I go down to posts, you can see some of the popular posts that have to do or that mention my keywords. So this one has 1,900 upvotes. What's your best travel tip? That one's not really important to us. 49 tips to travel better from a solo traveler. So that one has some pretty good engagement, right? Because it has 237 upvotes, 96 comments, which is awesome. The next one is 10 Japanese travel tips for visiting America, 322 comments. So that's another good one. The best travel tip I've ever received. So Reddit can give you some options on finding really good stuff. So let's do another search for travel. Let's try and find a good blog article that we can pull some content from. Let's hit next. Here we go. Travel on a shoestring budget. So let's click that and see how that looks. Okay. So not a ton of upvotes here. 17, 104, 1428. So as you can see, Reddit, it takes some time to find some really good content. But once you find a good one, you'll be able to find a great nugget. So let's look over here. Related travel subreddits. Let's look at solo travel. Okay. Nothing really big here. Nothing with a ton of upvotes. Let's go back. And let's do backpacking. Okay, so nothing here. So I would keep searching. Reddit can be your last resort if you can't find any information on other platforms, but it is good to have and be able to look and find content that resonates with people on Reddit. Okay, so the last finding great content resource is Epicbe. And Epicbe is really cool. It lets you find trends, content, and influencers that matter. So if I put something in the search terms here, it'll tell me the most popular content in relation to time and how many shares it has. So let's do travel tips as just an example. You can be more granular or detailed with your searches too, but this is just to give you a general idea. And just as a side note, you're usually going to be searching for more specific searches, right? So you might be searching for top places in Cuba or top vacations in Cuba. We're just using travel tips as a template, right? So once I hit travel tips, this is where it brings me. The first thing you want to do is sort by shares. So you want to know what content is really resonating with people. What content are people sharing? What content is really getting into their brains, right? So once I do that, I'm going to look at the top stuff in the last month. Now you can change this from the last month to the last 3 days, the last week, 3 months. Let's do 3 months. Whoops. Let's do 3 months just to give us a little bit more data. And it's going to populate the most popular blogs that mention travel tips on the internet. So this tool is really robust, really cool. If you like, you can even go to this app first before you even start searching on other sites, because you might be able to find some good stuff here before you need to go to other sites for your blog content. So the first one is 11 tips for staying healthy when you travel. This has 12,000 engagement, 12,000 shares. So 12,000 people actually shared this blog. Now, this is the great part, right? So let's look at the word count, 769 words. That's a pretty robust article, right? That's about 2.5 pages, I think. It's been a while. Article sentiment is neutral. That's fine. Time to read is 3 minutes, right? So this blog has some really great pictures. It's probably a really robust blog. Let's go ahead and click it and take a look at it. Give it 1 sec. Okay, there we go. So it's loaded up. It has tons of shares. So as you can see, they've gotten it broke down by number, so it's easy for people to read and see. It's not a super long post, so we can definitely capitalize on this. So this could be another idea for a blog post. You could write something like 25 healthy choices to make while you travel, or 25 ways to eat healthy and inexpensive when you travel. So one, we're increasing the number, so that means our word count is going to be higher. We're going to have more images in our content. And we know that this type of content already resonates with people because it has 12,000 shares. So that tells us that this is a great blog for us to add to our list of ideas. So let's copy this and let's paste it into our content doc. And let's type in healthy travel tips for eating well. Okay, so that's another one. Now let's keep scrolling a little bit more. 8 tips for taking travel pictures with an iPhone. That's a really cool one. That has 10,000 shares. Let's click that one too. So as you can see, you can go through this, add as many as you like. This is a great tool for really finding out what's viral and what's really engaging right now. and then being able to capitalize on it and then write original content that has to do with that. So after you finish your research, just look at your links, look at your blog ideas. If you don't use all of these to find great content, that's fine. You can use 1, 2 of them. If you want to use all 4, that's great. But you don't really, it's not really necessary to find some great content to write. And then go to blog ideas tab. And then for that blog, carry over all the links that you mentioned here. Go live day, we usually do this a week in advance, and then channels promoted, we'll get to that in the next video. And that's it for research. So research content, you're pretty much done. Thank you guys again for checking out our content. We thoroughly appreciate it. If you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. You can do it after this screen, or you can hit that button on the bottom right on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to sound off in the comments. We're happy to help. Also, side note, our last video, we actually signed up for an app called Whale. Now, Whale lets you answer questions in real time. And I'm telling you, I'm getting tons of questions from people in the industry, business owners, entrepreneurs, and I answer those questions in real time. So if you haven't yet, sign up for the Whale app. It's totally free, pretty awesome. And I feel like it's going to pick up a lot. So right now I'm trying to be an early adopter and get on board while it's still kind of small. So go ahead and sign up when you can and do your thing. Thanks again, guys. I appreciate it. Peace.